toothbrushes are a cybersecurity risk too. Millions participate in DDoS attacks. Okay, so today we're going to go ahead and we're going to see how exactly these toothbrushes basically brought down a website out in Switzerland, and most importantly, what we can do about it. Because remember, we're looking at it from a lens of, hey, this attack happened. How can we mitigate this attack as a cybersecurity analyst? How can we go ahead and make sure that we have the security controls in our organization so we don't get attacked by millions and millions and millions of toothbrushes. So, we're going to break down this article here. It's going to be a great learning experience. And long story short, first thing we need to realize is what is a DDoS attack? Okay, and a DDoS attack, okay, the DDoS basically stands for Distributed Denial of Service. And I'm going to give you guys an analogy. Okay, an analogy is this: everybody has been to a restaurant. I think we can all share that experience. We've been to a restaurant and there's a server, and that server would go ahead and is there basically to go ahead and provide a service. So a server, let's just say that that server has 5 tables. Okay, so they're taking care of you and your party while at the same time taking care of somebody else and their party. And that server would bring the drinks, that server would bring the napkins, that server would go ahead and bring the food. If you need some sauce, hey, can I get some ketchup and mustard? Sure. Hey, can I go ahead and get another refill? Yeah, not a problem. Okay, and that as long as that server is working within their means, like, hey, a server can handle 5 tables, not a problem. Now, let's imagine that that server has to go ahead and serve 500 tables. Could you imagine what that server would be going through? More than likely, that server would basically become what? Overwhelmed, right? It's just like, hey, I gotta go ahead and get 500 Diet Cokes, and I gotta go ahead and get 500 napkins, and I gotta go ahead and serve 500 tables. I was just used to only 5 tables. Now you have me going ahead and trying to do 500 tables. No, this is too much. This is too much processing. This is too much work, overloaded. And that's basically what a DDoS attack is. Okay. So a DDoS, once again, stands for Distributed Denial of Service. And once again, just think about it in the restaurant analogy, where there is literally one server that is serving. Okay. A server that is hosting a website can also become overwhelmed if there's too many requests. Okay, so let's take a look here. Cyber criminals have expanded their botnet capabilities. Hey, we know what a botnet is. We talked about that in our previous video. A botnet is basically a conglomerate of zombie computers with around 3 million smart toothbrushes. Okay, infected with malware. So it looks like a Swiss newspaper, not sure how to pronounce that, reported referring to Stefan Zunger, director systems engineer from the Swiss branch of Fortnite, Fort, Fortinet. However, some experts doubt the validity of this assertion. That one's interesting. Some experts doubt the validity of this assertion, but they said it happened, so that's pretty interesting. Okay, nonetheless, unbelievable scenario that actually happened. Remotely controlled toothbrushes participated in a distributed denial of service DDoS attack to simultaneously access and bring down the website of a company in Switzerland. Okay, so smart toothbrushes use connectivity to track and improve users' hygiene. So it looks like those toothbrushes had this application, and long story short, they have this thing called a node. Okay, and basically every quote unquote smart device is gonna have a node. That's the opportunity to, one, receive information, and two, give information. So it looks like these toothbrushes, okay, with basically rewriting the programming, which it was cyber criminals exploited gaps in the Java programming language to affect smart toothbrushes secretly. Then a single command was used to direct the request to a targeted server. This like, yeah, I can see it. Why? Because if the toothbrushes have a MAC address, if the toothbrushes have a IP address, okay, then and they have that capability, then guess what? That IP address can send a message to another IP address, and if you get all of these 3 million toothbrushes to send a IP address all at the same time to a specific website, then yeah, that website is going to go ahead and become overwhelmed, like we talked about in the analogy of the server at a restaurant. So, I mean, yeah, plausible, absolutely, 100%. Um, Now, let's go ahead. However, while the story was widely shared online, some experts share opinions that toothbrushes being involved in DDoS attacks may be a fictitious example. I wonder why. Okay, I initially agree with, hey, yeah, if it has an IP address and you can program it to connect to another IP address, it's completely possible. So let's check why. The 3 million toothbrushes botnet story isn't true. Cybersecurity expert Kevin Beaumont shared on Mastodon. It's simply a made up example. It doesn't exist. I wonder, is he saying that it's not possible, or is he saying that it never happened? Because on one end they're saying it happened, on the other end he's saying that it didn't happen. So I'm interested to figure out what's going on. Nonetheless, future technological advances might make such scenarios plausible. Okay, so I think what's going, I'm not sure if that was, oh, it's not in quotes, so that's not his words. Cyber News has already reported that cybersecurity professionals avoid smart devices for a good reason. They are easy to hack due to questionable update practices and lack of support. Let's see how long it would take for the internet to get infected. It's compromised to 20 minutes. Almost 50,000 were filed. Interesting. So this is a very interesting article. So one of them saying that it did happen, the other one saying that it didn't happen. Nonetheless, guys, let's assume so let's assume that it did happen. Okay? And or even if you assume it didn't happen, how can we protect our infrastructure? How can we protect our company from a DDoS attack? Okay, that brings us to the second section. So, looks like when it comes to this situation, this basically mentions exactly what I mentioned, a CDN, content delivery network. Okay, a CDN is made up of many different edge nodes, each containing a local copy of your website that updates regularly. Most visitors will be served cached content, which takes a lot off the load of your servers. So, a CDN, and I'm going to be honest with you, I need to do a little bit more studying when it comes to the CDN, but this was one of the first things that popped up, content delivery network. So, maybe we should make a video on this, on our journey to figure out, hey, what exactly is a CDN. Nonetheless, I have another solution here, and this is what I learned. What I learned was rate limiting. Okay, so catching is basically what a CDN was mentioning, that the CDN basically leverages catching go ahead and deliver the information at a faster rate. But looking at this, rate limiting is actually one of the things that I've really come across when it comes to going ahead and um, reducing the risk of a potential DDoS attack, which this goes ahead restricts the volume of network traffic over a specific time period, essentially preventing web servers from getting overwhelmed by requests from specific IP addresses. Rate limiting can be used to prevent DDoS attacks that use botnets to spam an endpoint with an abnormal amount of requests at once. So going ahead and making sure that you have a rate limiting, so that basically means, if we go back to our restaurant analogy, it's kind of like saying, hey, the manager comes in and says, hey, right now we could only serve 15 tables. You're going to have to go ahead and wait outside, or we can take down your request. And as soon as one of their tables open up, then we would let you in. So that would be an example of rate limiting, going ahead and putting basically a line in the sand, so to speak, that says, hey, we're only going to provide these services for this amount of people. After this point, we can no longer provide our services, as opposed to going ahead and bringing down the server. So that was one of them. And honestly, this is the one that I see the most from my studies. And mind you, my studies is different from out in the real world, but that's definitely one that came to mind. And they look like they have a lot of other potential resolutions here. Web application firewall, always on DDoS mitigation, and things of that nature. So, nonetheless, guys, what do you guys think? So, I honestly I love the idea. I love the idea of going ahead and taking the toothbrush, and the thing is this, um, you basically code it to use it as a DDoS attack. You basically have a zombie computer within your smart toothbrush. Um, I wonder if it's true. I wonder if it's not. Nonetheless, guys, that's basically what's going out in the world right now. And if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, if you guys want to see more of these videos, or maybe if there's an article you would like me to break down, give my 2 cents and whatnot, feel free to go ahead and put it down in the comments below. Other than that, we'll see you guys on the next one.